What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Juicy Jet podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Rooney, and we are live from a random hotel in Milwaukee, making my way up to Green Bay for the NFL draft tomorrow. Tomorrow's the big day. It all starts at round one tomorrow. It starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, I believe. Then it goes into round two and three on Friday, and then 4 through 7 on Saturday. And I am super excited. Green Bay is one of my favorite places on the entire planet, so I'm so excited to be back there. And yeah, I've got the nice little draft background going on here. So for any of you that are on video and on YouTube, I think this is what the theater's going to look like when I go tomorrow. But I'll do a podcast post the actual draft, and I can show you kind of what everything looked like and what the experience was like being there. But I can't wait. I'm going to have some of my Jets fan friends actually at the draft. I already saw folks from the Gotham City crew that I'm familiar with and I've hung out with a bunch of times are going to be there. My guy, Mikey Holcans, is going to be at the draft. So I've been texting him about meeting up and making sure that we can get together. But I'm very excited. I think round one is the most fun part of going to the draft. The excitement, tension in the room is really fun. You get to interact with all diehards that are just like you. Some of them are dressed up in weird costumes. Others are just normal guys who love the draft and love seeing who their team's going to pick. Some of them are just diehard college football fans. It's a really interesting group and it's going to be really fun. During the day tomorrow is going to be awesome. I can't wait to go to all the different things they got set up, whether it's like games, whether it's shops, activities. I know Green Bay is going to do it right, so I'm very excited to see what that all looks like. And I know it's kind of close to the stadium too. I think everything is right around Lambeau Field. So Lambeau Field is awesome. I'm so excited to be near it again. So it's going to be a great couple of days coming up. It's going to be a little chilly, probably in the 40s and 50s here in Green Bay. We missed out. The big nice day was today where it was in the 70s and 60s for most of the day. But that's okay. As long as it doesn't rain or anything like that while we're standing outside, then we'll be fine. But I do want to talk about some of my draft predictions. This is not going to be a very long episode. And then my final pick, who do I think the Jets take at number 7? So let's talk a little bit about maybe let's talk about the first 6 picks of the draft. So it's really important that we try to understand who's going to get taken where so we get a better sense of who's going to be on the board for when the Jets actually pick. Now, I think it is the first 3 picks feel like a lock to me right now. When you look at it, Titans have been on the clock for 4 or 5 months now. Cam Ward is the top quarterback in the draft. They need a quarterback badly. So Cam Ward is going to go number 1. I feel like if you try to put a bet on Cam Ward right now, you would probably have to put down $20,000 to make 100. I think that's what the odds are looking like. So Cam Ward goes number 1. Number 2 to the Browns. This is a really interesting one. I originally, when I first decided to start looking into all of this stuff, I thought Browns, no doubt, going quarterback, Shadur Sanders. The Deshaun Watson thing hasn't worked out, but it doesn't look like that's the way they're going to go because Shadur, I just don't think is good enough, to be totally honest with you. So it feels like Travis Hunter is now the lock at number 2. He's the Colorado wide receiver / corner, can play 2 positions. He's a freak. It feels like Cam Ward, then Travis Hunter are the top 2 picks. Then you come to the Giants at number 3. The Giants are so weird to me. The owner puts all this pressure on the head coach and GM. If you don't do well this year, you're fired. Honestly, I think they should have been fired last year. But what does that mean? That means that they have to win now. So does win now mean drafting a Shadur Sanders at number 3? I don't think so. They signed Jameis Winston. They signed Russell Wilson. So they're trying to win with a veteran quarterback. So what does that mean for them? It's get the best player in the draft that's on the board right now. And for them, that's going to be Abdul Carter, the edge from Penn State. So I think that's a lock as well. Unless they trade out or something like that, I think they're going Abdul Carter. Because why not? He's the best player that you could possibly take. It's going to be interesting to see what they do because they paid Brian Burns last year at edge. And then they have the young guy who was drafted the same year as Sauce, Kayvon Thibodeau, who I actually really liked in that draft. So do they trade Thibodeau? How does this all work? Because then you got too many edges. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe they keep all 3. But Abdul Carter's an awesome player. I would be pumped to put him next to Dexter Lawrence in that Giants defensive line. So I think Giants fans will be very happy with that pick. The next, this is where you go to number 4. So I think the first 3 picks are very chalk. I think that's how it's going to go. I don't see any surprises coming unless there's a trade. Pick 4, this is where things get juicy here. Pick 4, Patriots on the clock. For me, I'm very happy they're not going to get Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. I don't want to play against those guys every single year. They're like the 2 studs in this draft. I think the Patriots need a tackle. The question is, and it sounds like what they're going to do is go with Will Campbell from LSU. Will Campbell, we've talked about him before. He's a guy with really short arms, so people don't know, should he play guard or should he play tackle? Seems like the Patriots like him as a tackle. This is a scary situation, though. They could go Membu, so a guy that we want could go in that pick. They could go Tet McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona, because they have no one to throw to besides Stephon Diggs at this point, and he's coming off an ACL, and he's like 32. So this could go anywhere, but it feels like offensive line with a Mike Vrabel there. He's probably going to want to run the ball a lot. So I think Will Campbell's going to be the pick, but this could get dicey. Then from there, you go to number 5. 5 is really, I have no idea what's going to happen at 5. There's rumors out there that now the Jaguars want to take a running back, Ashton Jeanty at number 5. That could be interesting. I also heard that they're a trade-up spot. What that means is maybe a team that wants to jump the Raiders for Ashton Jeanty needs to go to the Jaguars spot to get the running back. That could be Chicago is a team, for example, that could trade up to number 5. For me, though, I think if they stick at 5, I think they go Mason Graham. Mason Graham is probably one of my favorite players in the draft. He's the D tackle from Michigan. He's someone I really want the Jets to take, but I don't think he's going to make it to the Jets. So I think Mason Graham goes 5 to the Jaguars. Just watch out for an Ashton Jeanty, a trade, or Armand Membu, the tackle, going there as well. Then you get to number 6. Number 6 is another really interesting one. The Raiders have a lot of needs. Ashton Jeanty just feels so Raiders to me. I think that's where he's going to go, so I'm going to go Ashton Jeanty at 6 to the Raiders, but they could go for an offensive tackle. They can go for Membu. They could go for Kelvin Banks. They could go, they need a corner really bad. Maybe Will Johnson is someone they take. They have a lot of needs, the Raiders, so where are they going to go? But I do think the Raiders just continue to use the Al Davis mentality of like, we want speed, we want flashy players, all of that kind of stuff. So that's why I think Ashton Jeanty is the pick for the Raiders at number 6. Then we come to the Jets. Jets at number 7. For me, we've got a couple up in the air right here. So Membu, the tackle from Missouri, the tight end, Tyler Warren from Penn State. Those are probably the 2 betting favorites right now. We've heard a lot about Tet McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona. We've also heard defense being a big thing here, where for me, I don't know about defense. I really am not a huge fan of taking more defensive players at this point. But like Jalen Walker, who is like the edge linebacker, could be one that the Jets look at. You know, maybe they like the other tight end better. Maybe they like Colston Loveland better. So maybe that's a person that they go with. I think Mason Graham's the best D tackle. If he's there, he's going to be very much in the conversation. Shedeur Sanders, is that someone that they look at? I don't think so. But here's my grouping. I would be very happy if the Jets are at 7 and they land a Mason Graham, D tackle from Michigan, Armand Membu, offensive tackle from Missouri, tight end Tyler Warren. I would be like, we're pumped. I think we got good players. We're going to be solid. I think the players that I would be like, I'm happy. I think Tet McMillan would fall into there. I think Kelvin Banks, the offensive tackle from Texas, would fall into that category. Trying to think who else would be like, okay, I can see it. Colston Loveland, I could see it if they take that tight end as well. I wouldn't like it that high, but he's going to be a good player, good receiving tight end. Those are probably, if Will Campbell falls and we decide to take him, he'd be in my category. And then I think there's my don't do it category, which is Shadur Sanders. I don't want Sanders. Ashton Genty, probably one of the best players in the draft. I don't want a running back that early. We can take one later if we really want one. I don't want any other defensive player besides Mason Graham. I am so tired of watching the Jets not be able to score points. So either let's get the pass protector at offensive tackle, let's get a receiver, or tight end. I cannot stomach watching another defensive player get drafted by this team unless his name is Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, Mason Graham. That's it. Obviously, I'd be thrilled with Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, but they're not going to make it to us, so those don't really matter. So when it comes down to my people that I've got on the board right now, it's between Armand Membou and Tyler Warren. I think most of Jets Twitter would probably say, let's go Tyler Warren. And I've seen most of the Jets podcasters and content creators say, let's go with the tight end. We haven't had one in so long. But for me, I'm going to go, let's lock down our offensive line. Armand Membou, tackle from Missouri, will play right tackle for us. Then you got Olu Fashanu, who's our first round pick from last year on the left side. You've got John Simpson, who played great last year, still young. You've got Joe Tippmann, who's one of the best young centers in football. You've got AVT, who we know is solid when he stays healthy. And then you got Membou at right tackle. That's a wall. You can run the ball like crazy then. Justin Fields is going to have literally a field day running the ball. Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, like Isaiah Davis. Like, we're going to make some holes for these folks. So I feel really good about getting the offensive tackle. There are some good tackles in round 2, but I don't feel great about the depth of tackle in this draft. So let's get the stud tackle now. We can take another tight end later. But like I said, if we take Tyler Warren, I will be ecstatic because that guy can block, he can catch, he can do it all. I would love having Tyler Warren. So that's where I land right now. I am planting my flag, Armand Membou, tackle from Missouri. Now let's just talk really quickly some of the surprises that we may see during the draft that I'd be excited about. Well, not maybe excited about, but it would also be like very dramatic and it would add to the hype around the draft. Number one, I don't think Shadur Sanders goes in the first round. That is one of my hot takes. I don't think he's that good. I'm not sure if teams love him because he's probably very, he comes with a lot of baggage. His dad is Deion Sanders. Like, that's how it goes. So I don't know if he goes in the first round. I think the only way is if there's a trade up. The Steelers are the one team to really look out for at pick 21. Do they, because they don't have a quarterback yet, Aaron Rodgers is not signed for the Steelers. So do they make a move and go with Shadur Sanders? But my pick is he does not get picked in round 1, which would be crazy. I would love to see Deion's reaction to that. My next thing, I predict the Giants and or Browns trade back into the first round. I'm leaning Giants. Trade back into the first round to take a quarterback, whether it's Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe. I don't think they're going to want to wait because there's the risk that the other team would do the same thing. So if the Giants have their guy that they really want, they got to trade up to get ahead of the Browns. Same thing with the Browns. If they really want this guy, they got to trade up so that the Giants don't do it instead. So I think that'll really shake up the first round. I think another thing that I'm really interested to see is the Vikings. The Vikings don't have a lot of picks. So I can see them being the team that wants to trade back because they only have 4 picks in this entire draft. I can see them being the team that want to trade back and with either the Browns, Giants, whoever, so that they can collect a couple more picks and a quarterback can get taken there or anything else. I'm assuming quarterback, but it could be one of the top D linemen or something like that, or a receiver run may start. You never know. So those are like some of the big ones that I'm really interested to see. I feel like for years I've been saying the Colts should draft a tight end in the first round, and something always happened where they were like a pick or two away from getting that draft, getting that tight end. So does Colston Loveland go to the Colts, or does a team like the Broncos trade up ahead of the Colts to get the tight end they want, or maybe the Chargers? I know they're looking for a tight end, so that'll be really interesting to see. So those are probably some of the big things I'm looking for. 49ers are a trade candidate. I think the Dolphins potentially could trade back to collect more picks. Will the Packers take a round 1 wide receiver? I don't know. I think that'll be a really interesting one too. How many running backs go off the board? I think there's going to be 2, but there's potential for more. So we'll see how this goes. I think it's going to be a really fun and exciting and interesting first round because it's literally a draft where there are so many players that are similar that you don't know where they're really going to go. Um, and because of the depth, like once again, D line, safety, tight end, running back, there's a lot of really good ones later in the draft. So, how aggressive are teams for offensive linemen or wide receivers, things like that early because it's not going to be as good later. So yeah, should be a really exciting first round. I cannot wait for tomorrow. I'm so pumped. Hopefully my prediction comes true. I feel like I've been surprised way too many times at these Jets drafts. That drives me nuts. Like I thought Olu was kind of a surprise. Not really. We knew we needed a tackle, but it was surprising to hear his name come off the board at the time. Will McDonald, I was shocked at the Will McDonald pick a couple of years ago. Everyone's looking around like, who the heck just got picked? I was in Kansas City for that one. That was a good one. I was a little surprised by Sauce. I thought maybe they'd go potentially a tackle at that spot and then either get Garrett or Jermaine Johnson at 10. And then I was shocked again when we traded back up for Jermaine Johnson into the first round. And then I was surprised again about trading up for Brees Hall. So that was a very fun and exciting draft. Mekhi Becton was a surprise. I knew he wanted a tackle, but Tristan Wirfs goes the pick after. Sam Darnold was a surprise. You thought he was going to go first overall, and he made it to us at 3. And we took him. So it was. There's been a lot of surprises, and I'm hoping I don't get surprised this time. It never doesn't really work out for us. So we'll see how it goes. I hope everybody enjoys. I will be wearing a Jets blazer tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get my ugly mug right on TV when the Jets are picking. I'll be with the rest of the Gotham City crew and with Mikey Holcans, so I'm sure they'll weasel their way to the front. And and then yeah, I'll be shooting content all day on TikTok and stuff like that. So if you don't follow me at JuicyJet25 on TikTok. Maybe I'll be tweeting a little bit. Kevin Rooney25 on Twitter. And yeah, and really looking forward to jumping back on Friday to talk about the person that we've picked and the new member of the New York Jets. So thank you all for listening, and I will talk to y'all after we have a new addition to Jet Station. See you later.